YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy James with Make an Opening, and today I'm bringing you my very first deck tech that isn't a deck tech covering a deck that, did well in a tournament, a deck that's not mine. This is actually my very first take on a homebrew list. It does have, bits and pieces of, what you would think you would be in a standard mono green Emperor Palpatine Control deck, mainly because there's only one set out, there's only so many cards in this color combo. But I just wanted to bring this to you. I wanted to try my hand at making my own deck list. I think it's pretty good. I've done a little bit of testing on Force Table and some games in Tabletop Simulator, not a whole lot of testing. Like I said right here, then this deck list itself will be linked down in the description below and swdb.com. If you want to give it a like, leave some comments on what you would take in, or what you would add, what you would remove. I also don't have a sideboard on here because I think sideboards are for nerds or people that are playing it seriously. I'm not playing this deck seriously as of right now. The deck that I'm going to be playing in the Webcam tournament is a Grand Inquisitor deck that I actually haven't covered. It's not the one that I covered in my video before, but that deck does have a side list. This one, or a sideboard. This one does not. We can add one in if we wanted to, of course. But just reading over this part, so I named it Commanding the Empire. Obviously, it's mono command. It's command center. He's in command. It's Emperor Palpatine. So command the Empire with this amazing dual command Emperor Palpatine deck. Now I've been through the most testing, like I said before, so any and all recommendations on cards to add, remove, etc. will be greatly appreciated. There are plenty of ways to ramp into not only your leader, but also your late game bombs. The main way this deck wins is the strategic use of removal through early and mid game to completely blow your opponent with late game bombs, as well as stabilizing with your own units. One of my favorite plays has to do with command. You can read that if you want. I'm going to get into it a little bit on my own whenever we go over the actual deck list. I converted this into something that looks a little bit more tasteful and nice from the eyes. So let's get over to that, and I can take you through my thoughts of the deck list, the pieces that I like the most, what I think works well, what doesn't work well, and then yeah, it should be a quick and easy deck tech if you guys want to try out the deck, or if you have tried out your own version or someone else's versions of a mono green Control Emperor Palpatine deck list. Please let me know. I think this is pretty fun. The reason I wanted to homebrew this list is because I think it would be fun to do. Emperor Palpatine is one of those leaders that I think isn't extremely good right now, but has been actually getting a lot of multiple top cuts in tournaments recently. So I wanted to do my take on like a command control-y style deck, because that's his character, right? He wants to control the galaxy. So but let's get into the actual image I made. So here I made a little graphic commanding the Empire. My head is covering up this, but basically over here, commanding the Empire, this deck does run 3 Darth Vader commanding the legions. Everybody knows this is the most expensive card in the game at the moment, currently sitting at about $82 or $83 a pop. So I actually have down here price with and price without Vader. As you can see, the discrepancy is quite high. $300 deck with a $70 deck without Vader. With Vader being extremely powerful, being one of those cards like maybe it's impossible to find a really good replacement for him. Obviously sub him out with any other big late game bombs that you can think of, like Blizzard AT-ATs and stuff like that. It's not going to have the same crazy good effect. It probably won't be as swingy for you as Darth Vader is going to be, considering how strong it is with ambush and cheating out a card for free. But that's why this card's so expensive. If you want to play a budget version of the deck, literally just switch out Vader for any other late game bombs and let me know how it works for you. I've never played this deck on paper because I do not own a single copy of Vader. I've pulled one and I sold them to pocket that extra cha-ching. So yeah, let me know what you guys think if you do sub them out. But Darth Vader has been winning me a couple of the games that I've played, so finding a nice replacement for him was probably gonna be a little bit tough. And I have everything on one slide this time instead of doing multiple slides. Let me know if you think this is a better or a worse setup. Again, this is only my second deck tech. I did multiple slides for the first one. I kind of broke it up into individual packages, and then obviously my last video covering the previews, there was a bunch of multiple slides as well. I have everything consolidated into one, and I just I'm moving around through it. Let me know if you like this setup a little bit more. But here is the the baseline of the deck. You have Emperor Palpatine and Command Center. Now, Command Center can be switched out for ECL or Energy Conversion Lab. The ambush ability is very nice, but but with 25 health and you wanting to kind of ramp into a late game power position, 30 health does make a bit of a difference. I've played it with and without ECL. I've even switched some cards in and out because of ECL. I used to run Gladiator Star Destroyer, and I would ECL it into like Fett's fire sprays and stuff, which is a pretty good use of it. But 25 HP I just didn't think was enough. So for people that don't know about Emperor Palpatine, he is an 8 resource leader. His action is you pay 1 resource, exhaust him, and defeat a friendly unit to deal 1 damage to a unit and to draw a card. So it's a great way to, you know, dig through your deck, find the answers that you need, find the pieces that you want to build up your late game board. And with dealing damage to a unit, that actually does play into his flip ability quite a bit. As you can see on his deploy side, when he is deployed, you take control of a damaged non-leader unit. So, you know, if you ping something for damage and then flip them, that card is now yours. Also a 410 body. You know, he is the probably the fattest leader in the game. And, you know, also this showcase art, like, man, I want one of these. You know, this thing is, man, that's clean. But yeah, and on attack, you may defeat another friendly unit, so you don't have to pay a resource or exhaust them to do this. You're actually going to be doing this on attack. And if you do, deal 1 damage to unit and draw a card. Stealing a unit is going to be pretty beneficial, especially if, you know, they're pumping something up with a lot of equipments, you know, upgrades, if they're putting a lot of experience tokens or shields on something. That doesn't matter. Well, the shields probably would matter, but as long as it's damaged even by 1 point and then you play Emperor Palpatine, that card is now yours. Also, there's other cards that kind of synergize with that as well. So that's the leader in the base. Let's take a look at some of the units. So this is our unit package, both ground units and space units. In total, there's 34 different units. How the way the deck breaks out, there's 34 total units between space and ground. There's 3 upgrades, and then there's 13 events. So that's kind of how the deck breaks down. Again, you can see the deck list in the link down below. Also, we'll have a text version if you want to take the deck list, put it into the mass entry of TCG player and buy it yourself if you're one of those guys. And then, you know, obviously delete Darth Vader and add in something else if you want to save yourself $250. But let's start from the top left and work our way down. First off, we have the Vanguard Infantry. He is our 1 cost, so he pairs really nicely with TIE LN Fighter. If you happen to have both of these in your starting hand, that's a really good play. When defeated, you actually give an experience token to a unit. So playing off of Vanguard Infantry, you can use Palpatine's ability. Defeat him, you get to deal a damage to an enemy unit. You get to draw a card, and then you also get to give an experience token to a unit. That plays out pretty well. I've done that a good bit of times. And then TIE LN Fighter is just, you know, a standard 1 resource 2/1 in space to try and sort of contest something in space. If they are playing around space and you end up playing both of these, you know, turn 2, you pop your own Vanguard Infantry to make it a 3/2, and then you can trade pretty efficiently in space with TIE LN Fighter as well. So that's your 1 drops. Scooting right on over here, we have Admiral Motti. There's no hyperspace version of this guy because he's in the starter deck. Kind of annoying. I was like, at least not on Star Wars Unlimited database where the deck list is, because I like, you know, as you can tell, I like having the hyperspace version of everything just because it looks prettier, but this has the boring border. But anyway, back on top, we have 2 Admiral Mottis, Brazen and Scornful. He's a 1/1 for 2, and when defeated, you can ready a villainy unit. All the units in this deck list, for the most part, are villainy. The only ones that aren't are Vanguard Infantry. You're not going to be in a position where you want to ready him anyway. Colonel Yularen is also someone you don't really end up getting into a position to ready, just because they're not extremely important to have readied up and swinging at stuff. Reinforcement Walker would be a good unit to ready up. It doesn't ready up this guy, unfortunately, just because his on attack trigger is really, really strong. But we have a different way to get him ready. You know, as soon as we play him, we have a way to get him ambushed, and that is actually through Admiral Piett right here. So Admiral Piett is a 2 resource 1/4, and each friendly non-leader unit that costs 6 or more gains ambush. So not only does Darth Vader get ambushed twice, which is actually kind of crazy. So when you play him, if you have Piett on the board already, you get to, since it's multiple triggers and the exact same timing, you get to choose what order they go in. So you could ambush and then play a card and then ambush again. You could ambush, then play the card. You could play the card and then ambush, like, bunch of different ways to stack it, but you know, getting 2 attacks in 1 action with Vader is doable, especially with 7 health. He could trade in pretty reliably with stuff. You could even ambush, and then with your when played, pull out cards that I don't really have in this list because I didn't find it to be really useful, but like Snowtrooper Lieutenant, if you did make changes, or maybe if I make changes and you hit Snowtrooper Lieutenant with Vader, you'd be getting 3 attacks in if he lives through the 2 ambush attacks, and like maybe do 5 at the base or 5 at even a 3rd unit. Now that I'm saying it, I might end up putting that card in the deck. It seems kind of crazy, but that doesn't happen extremely often. Also, cards that get ambushed will be Reinforcement Walker, so an 8 for 6/9. When played, you get to look at the top card of your deck, either draw that card or discard it and heal 3 from your base. You get to do that twice, basically, if it has ambush. So an 8 resource 6/9 that gets to heal 6 damage from your base if you discard the 2 cards, which is pretty good. Swing in with an 8/8. Devastator, you can attack in with a 10/10 Overwhelm even. So Admiral Piett has a pretty good spot. Obviously, he's not super consistent. He's only 2 of him, but if he is on the board and we're in your mid to late game, it's pretty big. Colonel Yularen, the ISB Director, is a 2 resource 2/3. When you play a green unit, you get to heal a damage off of your base. So that's pretty good. It helps you kind of stabilize and get into the mid-rangey, late part of the game as well. Some cards don't really synergize with that too much, but we do have a lot of green units that do to make up for that and take advantage of it. Over here we have our Sentinel package, if you will. We have 3 Cell Block Guards and 3 Emperor Royal Guard. They're both, this is a 3/3 Sentinel. This is a 3/3/4. As long as you have an official, it has Sentinel. And while you control Emperor Palpatine, this unit gets +0/+1. So he's actually a 3/5. And when you control Palpatine, that means whether in your leader slot or deployed on the field. So he's always going to be a 3/5 in this deck. And as long as you have an official, he's a Sentinel. So we have 1 official, 2 official, 3 official, 4 official. That's awesome. But yeah, you're definitely going to have an official. I can't really say definitely, but you should have an official on the board before you play him, because you could play any of these guys on turn 1. There's just 7 different options you can play on turn 1. That's an official. General Veers is just your typical Lord effect for Imperial units. We have a shit ton of Imperial units, so they're all going to get +1/+1. We're running 2 Veers. Superlaser Technician is obviously a way to ramp in mono green or just green in specific. When it's defeated, you put it into play as a resource and ready it. TIE Advanced. When played, you give 2 experience tokens to another friendly Imperial unit. Again, everything is Imperial. He's not, but Imperial. So there's only 2 units that aren't Imperials. That's Vanguard Infantry and Reinforcement Walker. So TIE Advance hits a lot of stuff and gives them +2/+2, which is really good. Turning your Emperor's Royal Guard from a 3/5 to a 5/7 with Sentinel, if you have an official, it's actually a disgusting wall that is very hard to get through. Obviously, we have the King of Star Wars Unlimited, Darth Vader, commanding the First Legion. Again, ambush. When played, search the top 10 cards of your deck with any number of villainy units, would combine cost 3 or less, and play each of them for free. Very good, very disgusting. $85 a pop. You know, if you have that sort of motion and you got it like that, and you want to do it on paper, go ahead. I've been playing this on tabletop and Force Table. He is a menace. I would love to have him in paper, but also in paper, I like to play a little bit more funny, like off the beaten path sort of stuff. And any deck that has Darth Vader, I'm kind of staying away from, at least on paper for now, just because of that price tag's kind of scary. But another one of our late game bombs we have is Reinforcement Walker. He's 8 resource 6/9. When played on attack, look at the top card of your deck, either draw it or discard it and heal 3. We went over that already. Relentless is a 9 for 8/8. The first event played by each opponent. Each round loses all abilities. Really good into event-heavy decks. Boba. There's even any deck that uses force-related abilities like Grand Inquisitor, Chirrut, even some Luke and even Chewbacca decks as well. From what I've been playing against, they have really good force synergies in them. And then our biggest of big bombs, only one of in here, but could be more, could be less. We could cut it entirely. We could add 3 if we wanted to. It's a 10-10-10. The reason there's only one is because in a lot of my testing, it's either I'm not super used to the deck yet, or I got lucky. My games either end really fast, or and they usually end really fast. It's either I end up getting a crazy tempo advantage and blowing them out before I have 10 resources, usually by the turn I play Palpatine, the game's over. And then I just stop resourcing cards. I even resourced a Devastator like early game, so I just like, oh, I know I don't have Devastator, so I'm just going to stop resourcing and build up hand advantage because I already have an advantage on the board. Or I get blown out by really insane opening hands from Leia, Sabine decks, Cassian decks, you know. So there's only one, but you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of resources you control. Typically, it's going to be 10. We don't have sneak attack, so it's not going to be any less than 10, but doing 10 damage, having Sentinel, and then overwhelm, especially ambushing it in with Piett, it's disgusting. So that is our unit package. These are the numbers for everything, and again, it's in the deck list down below. If there is anything you would add or remove, either let me know by commenting on the deck list itself if you have an account on SWDB, or just let me know down in the comment section below. What cards would you add, or what cards would you remove? Is there any hidden synergies of cards that aren't in here, or maybe they are in here and I'm just like not big brain enough to see those combos? Let me know. I'm trying to get better, and you know, this is my first actual like homemade deck tech, so I just want to get better, and I love the game so much. But let's now go into the events and the upgrades. So starting off the events, we have resupply. Obviously 3 resource, put this event into play as a resource. A big part of this deck is to sort of, you want to live through the early game and then rush through mid game to get to your, you know, in-game bombs as fast as possible. That's why we have 3 resupplies. We have 3 Superlaser Technicians. We also have 3 commands, which we'll go over that in just a second. But ramping is going to be a pretty big thing to do. If this, you know, if you don't, you know, sometimes it makes sense to not play units and just go for resupply. Maybe you're taking damage, but that's why we opted for the 30 health base instead. Obviously, use it to your own judgment, but I typically am always playing this if I can. Strike True is a very good removal card. It's a, you know, solid removal piece. We have 2 of them in the deck. A friendly unit deals damage to its power, equal to its power to an enemy unit. Solid removal piece. And then we have command. We're able to run command because we are mono green, so we don't have to pay any additional. It's only cost 4, choose 2 in any order. So what I like to do is I actually like to use this card. My favorite time to use it is whenever I have 7 resources on board. I like to use the second and the third abilities. So a friendly unit deals damage equal to its power to a non-unique enemy unit. So, you know, ping something, but I try not to kill it because then I put this event into play as a resource. I then have, but yeah, at that point I'll have 8 resources. And then, as you guys know, if you have 8 or more resources, you deploy them. So then you snatch whatever unit that you dealt damage to. That way it gives you a pretty big tempo swing. At the latest, you're doing that on turn 6 if you haven't been able to ramp. But if you've used resupply, if you've gotten an SLT, you can play this guy by turn 4. An 8 resource card by turn 4, and then taking one of their units is actually very powerful. Obviously, as soon as you get 8 resources, you don't necessarily have to play Palpatine. You can if you want. It's a lot better if you play him whenever an enemy unit, hopefully of value, like, you know, if that's Fire Spray, Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, maybe their own Vader, a non-leader unit that's, you know, very powerful and very swingy. If one of those has at least 1 point of damage on it, that's the best time to use Emperor Palpatine, but of course, use it to your own discretion. That's my favorite time to use command, but obviously you can use it as soon as you have 4 resources, depending on how many you've seen, how many are in your hand, how many you've resourced, stuff like that. Use your best judgment. And then we have 2 more removal pieces right here, maximum firepower and overwhelming barrage. 4 resource, and a friendly Imperial unit deals damage equal to its power to another unit. And then another friendly Imperial unit deals damage equal to its power to the same unit. So if you need help getting over a pretty big wall, something with a lot of HP, it doesn't have to be a non-leader unit. So, you know, if there's a big beefy leader in your way, like a Chewbacca, a Vader, stuff like that, use 2 of your units to ping it and blow it up. Then we have Overwhelming Barrage. You give a friendly unit +2/+2, then it deals damage equal to its power divided as you choose among any number of units. This card is basically a board wipe if they have units with a little bit of HP left, no HP left, or if you just have a very big guy. Overwhelming Barrage attached to any of our bombs, you know, you're looking at 8, 10, 12 damage divided as you choose among enemy units. Very good way to swing the game. And then the final card that we have in our deck is Traitorous. 5 resource upgrade. When this upgrade becomes attached to a non-linear unit that costs 3 or less, you actually take control of that unit. And when this unit, or when this upgrade becomes unattached, the unit's owner takes control of it. It's +0/+0, but what a good thing to do is, you know, slap a traitorous onto an enemy unit and then use Palpatine's ability to actually just kill their unit and use it for your own good. And then if it's defeated, like, and it has an ability that says when defeated, you may do blah, blah, blah. Like say you steal a Superlaser Technician, you actually get that resource. Or with Vanguard Infantry, you get the experience token. You know, you get to ready a unit if you stole any of these guys. Traitorous is very cool, and it just adds to the whole I want to take your stuff and build tempo sort of underlying theme that this deck list has. So again, this has been Commanding the Empire. Please let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Run it up, like, favorite, share, all that good stuff. My very first video on the channel, the deck tech that I did over Grand Inquisitor, actually got, so I think it's over 400 views right now. I kind of just made it for fun. I didn't think anyone was going to watch it, take it seriously, take the time to comment or like or anything like that. But you guys really enjoyed it. Hopefully this style is a little bit better because I'm trying to make it better for you guys. I don't know if, you know, breaking it into those packages was good or bad. I didn't really get any specific feedback. If you think this layout is better, if you like the way it flowed better, please let me know. If not, let me know why you didn't. You know, compare and contrast, let me know. I just want to get as good at this as I can for you guys. And until the next time, the next deck tech, whether it be a homebrew or something that I see that catches my eye, you know, I'll see you guys then. If there's any specific leaders or specific color combinations you want to see a deck tech on, I will either find one or I will do my best to make my own. If you think this is a good deck list and you believe that I can make my own, let me know if you want to make, if you want me to make one, or if you want me to steal one, net deck it, maybe tweak it a little bit, whatever. I just have so much fun doing this. So until next time, guys, this has been James with Make an Opening. I will see you guys later. Peace out.